Good morning everyone. Welcome back all of you. So students, today we will continue our chapter 1 with the topic symbiosis. What is symbiosis? Some organisms live together and share both shelter and nutrients. This relationship is called symbiosis. For example, certain fungi live inside the root of plants. The plants provide nutrients to the fungus, and in return the fungus provide water and certain nutrients. So what is symbiosis? We can say symbiosis is the association in which two different types of organisms live and work together for their mutual benefits is called symbiosis. We can take example of lichen. What is lichen? Lichens are the most amazing form of life. Lichen is actually composed of two distinct organisms, algae and fungi, which live and work together. The algae contain chlorophyll and make their own food, and the fungi share the food made by algae. So the fungi in return provide protection, water and minerals to the algae. So in organism called lichens, a chlorophyll containing partner, which is an alga, and the fungus live together. The fungus provides shelter, water and minerals to the algae, and in return the algae prepares and provide food to the fungus. So this is the way of symbiosis relationship. So what is symbiosis? Symbiosis is the association in which two different types of organisms live and work together for their mutual benefits is called symbiosis. And we can take example of rhizobium bacteria also. We know that rhizobium bacteria live in the nodules of the roots of leguminous plants like pea and gram and provide them nitrogen in a soluble form, and in return the plants provide food and shelter to the rhizobium bacteria. So both organisms benefit each other. Now we'll study about the next topic, that is how nutrients are replenished in the soil. Because you know that plants absorb the minerals, nutrients, especially nitrogen from the soil. Therefore there is a depletion of nitrogen in the soil over a period of time. So manure and fertilizers are used to replenish the nutrients in the soil, and these manure and fertilizer contain nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus needed by the plants for their healthy growth. So these nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil. Now we'll go through the book. That have you seen that farmers spreading manure and fertilizer in the fields, or gardeners using them in lawn or in pots? Do you know why this is done? Now we know that to provide the nutrients they are doing that. So you learn that plant absorb minerals and nutrients from the soil, so their amount in the soil keep on declining. So fertilizer and manure contain nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus, etc. These nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil, and we can grow plants and keep them healthy if we can fulfill the nutrients requirement of plants. And usually crop plants absorb lot of nitrogen and the soil become deficient in nitrogen, and you learned that though nitrogen gas is available in plenty in the air, plants cannot use it in the manner they can use carbon dioxide. They need nitrogen in a soluble form. So the bacterium called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into usable form. But rhizobium cannot make its own food, so it often lives in the roots of gram, peas, moong, beans and other legume and provide them with the nitrogen, and in return the plants provide food and shelter to the bacteria. So they thus have a symbiotic relationship as we have discussed earlier. Say this association is of great significance for the farmer, so they can reduce the use of nitrogenous fertilizer where leguminous plants are grown. So most of the pulses like dal are obtained from the leguminous plants. In this chapter you learned that most of the plants are autotrophs, only few plants are parasitic, for example cuscuta, and saprotrophic, for example mushroom. They derive nutrition from other organisms, and all animals are categorized as heterotrophs. since they depend on the plants and other animals for food. So can we say that insectivorous plants are partial heterotrophs? Yes, we can say they are having the mode of heterotrophs also. For example, Cuscuta. Now, main points are given that what you have learnt. What you have learned, this is the summary of the chapter. Now you know that all organisms need food and utilize it to get energy for growth and maintenance of their body, and green plants synthesize food for themselves by the process of photosynthesis. That's why they are autotrophs, and plants like Cuscuta are parasite. They take food from the host plant, and plants use simple chemical substance like carbon dioxide, water and minerals for the synthesis of food. Chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide and sunlight are essential requirement for photosynthesis, and complex chemical substances such as carbohydrate are the product of photosynthesis. Solar energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll present in leaves, plants, and oxygen is produced during photosynthesis. Oxygen is released in photosynthesis, is utilized by the living organism for their survival. Many fungi derive nutrition from dead and decaying matter. They are saprotrophs, and a few plants and all animals are dependent on other for their nutrition and are called heterotrophs. So student, this is all about this chapter, and I want to give you a quick revision of this chapter, that what we have learned in this chapter. So students, we have studied about the nutrition in plants. Nutrition means process of taking in food by an organism and its digestion, absorption and utilization by the body. Then we have studied about the different modes of nutrition in plants. For example, autotrophic, that is green plants, then heterotrophic, for example animals and non-green plants, and special mode also like insectivorous plant that eating insects for fulfilling nitrogen requirement. And we have discussed about the mode of nutrition, that is autotrophic, green plants having the process of photosynthesis, and for photosynthesis they require water and minerals that is absorbed by root. They require carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide we get from air, they get from air, and chlorophyll that is present in the leaf, and sunlight. So from sunlight they will get the solar energy and perform the process that is known as photosynthesis. And what is the product of photosynthesis? For product of photosynthesis is, we can say, carbohydrate that is stored as a starch and provide energy to do work, and required for the, we can say, oxygen is released that is required for the respiration and is important for the survival. So this is all about this chapter. So students, thank you and have a nice day.